Welcome to the webinar. Very excited to share my thoughts. In terms of how I've structured this, there are three pieces to it. The first section is really grounding in the foundation terminology. When I'm using the terms like transformation and many other terms, I just want to make sure that I give a proper context to all the attendees and lay out some framework. So that's the first part of the agenda. So that will take us, about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I kind of move on to, how to really make large-scale transformation initiatives happen, how to really make them successful and deliver the strategic objectives and outcomes that organizations are expecting. So in that context, I will be doing a deep dive, not only at a framework level, but also take you through a roadmap that I have developed over the last, couple of decades in serving different companies on different types of initiatives, both business and technology, and hope to interject some anecdotes, some examples, along the way, but keep them at a high level in the interest of time, and then kind of wrap up, allow about, 10, 15 minutes at the end, open the floor for Q&A. So that's how the webinar is structured, and looking forward to taking this to the next slide now. Okay, great. So already covered enough about my organization and my profile. From an industry perspective, my background is serving healthcare, financial services, and high-tech companies, and I've spent about a decade or so doing that. And so I'm just a little bit curious on the attendee profile at a high level. If some of you can state in the chat window what your industry background is, which industry you contribute to, that would give me some insight on relevant examples to share as I proceed with the presentation. So I'm going to pause. Would like you to just, mention, which industries you represent. So that will give me a good feel. So I see high tech, retail, about financial services. We've got a couple of individuals, telecom. I'm just going to give another 10, 15 seconds. Looks like, we have a pretty good cross-industry representation, which is always, great, and it makes the conversation a bit more fascinating and interesting. That's great. I see David saying he's predominantly focused on the IT functions across different industry sectors. I see retail and manufacturing. Presentation on the public sector government, which is terrific. Great. And this is helpful for me because what I'm going to cover along the way, I will share that this really applies, transformation initiatives and the frameworks and the roadmap. It pretty much applies to public companies, private companies, government entities. And so it's a pretty, industry functional agnostic type of information that I'm going to share and review. So great. So that brings us to, what is transformation? I'm sure it's a term that many of you have seen, and it's kind of thrown around, all the time. And so I just wanted to kind of share, what I mean by it whenever I am using that term. So transformation from my perspective is really about innovation. So it's really a large-scale, complex initiative that makes innovation happen. And in the context of innovation, the next question is, what type of innovation are we talking about? So it's innovation of the business models. It could be product, service. It could be large-scale process improvement, redesign initiative to innovate processes, or it could be, large-scale technology and migration and radical change in the systems, which really position a company or an organization for continued success and to dominate the market. So it's a complex, large-scale initiative. And the focus is really around co-developing what are the outcomes that stakeholders are expecting upfront. And whenever I use the term business outcomes, it's really around what results is the organization expecting, and specify that through benefits articulation, specify that, through key value indicators ahead of time. So one could track at the end of the transformation, the benefits are being realized or not. So that's really what a transformation exercise is. So the inherent nature of a transformation, whether it's business driven, whether it's technology transformation, it has a large scale organizational change impact. And so different functional areas, different levels of the organization, they get impacted. And so that's something to be highly cognizant about as one embarks on such kind of a program. At the end of the day, transformation is about driving substantial and sustainable improvement. Substantial, large-scale step improvement, not the incremental marginal improvement. And as we are executing transformation programs, we really need to make sure that at the end of the day, the benefits that are being realized can be sustained and the organization continues to operate at a higher level of performance. For business performance, it really can be looked at, from multiple dimensions. The best thing that I have done for my clients all the time is to look at it in the context of a balanced scorecard. So you can look at business performance from a customer perspective, from a financial perspective, which is what, the shareholders care about. You can view it from an employee. So if you are within the organization as an employee, what are some of the new things, differences, how you go about doing your work, from an employee perspective, and how life is, a little bit easier to get what you want to get done. And then finally, from an operational perspective. So transformational initiatives improve business performance, across all of those dimensions. It's possible that based on what the nature of the program and the scope of the transformation is, certain groups may have a greater benefit. Additional type of initiatives, I refer to them as a program. Using the project management and program management terminology from whether it's from the Project Management Institute or other organizations, it as a program because of the fact that it's cross-functional, it comprises multiple sub-projects, and it also entails upfront around what problem you're going to solve and creating a business case around it. So there is some upfront, portfolio management aspect as well. As far as the boundaries of a transformation initiative, it kind of depends. I mean, it could be something at an enterprise level. It could be something within individual lines of business, or it could be, for example, an organization, really wants to radically transform their procurement function as an example, or change, the supply chain management for manufacturing type of companies. So those are all examples of, what a transformation scope or boundary could be. That's kind of a high level, what is transformation. Let's talk about a little bit more on what's happening. Well, the complexity of a transformation type of endeavor, it has been a challenge